Caroline Liviakis, and I am an instructor at Rock Pilates. Today I'm going to guide you through a series of exercises that warm up the muscles in the feet. They also stretch out your feet and your toes and your ankles, and that also work on some balancing exercises that you can do on a regular basis at home. All right, so we're going to get started with warming up the ankles and the feet. So the prop that we're going to use a couple of props today, but all of these exercises you can do without the props. Just won't have the resistance to work with, but very workable without props. If you have one of these bands at home, then we're going to use them today. Ideally, it's going to be a blue color, so kind of a strong band to work with, but if you haven't really worked your feet much, then something like a green or a lighter band will be suitable. All right, so we're going to get started. You're going to sit down, ideally on the floor, sitting up against a wall, so you can rest back there. But you can also do this while sitting on a chair. It's just a little awkward. So whatever feeling is comfortable, I kind of like to take one leg out of the picture as I work on one. So we're going to start with your right leg, your right foot is going to go into the band. And again, if you do not have a band to work with, just do all of these foot movements without the band and just create tension yourself. All right, so I'm going to sit back just a little more so you can see me. All right, so I have the band up here around the ball of my foot, and it's really flat. I'm giving some tension with the band. So I'm flexing my foot as much as I possibly can. I'm going to push through with the ball of my foot forward and back in the band. I'll give you actually a side view. Hopefully that'll help here. Yeah, there we go. So push through the ball of the foot forward and back. So if you notice, I'm keeping my toes flexed as I'm doing this. So I'm not going into a full point yet, okay? So keep your toes back and forward and back. And something you can also work on with this is your posture. So make sure when you're not pulling slunched, up and forward. So we're trying to get the muscles here in the front of the ankle to stretch as we push forward and forward. You'll feel that kind of warm sensation happening. Your ankles should be working. And 2 more times. 1 and 2. Now we're going to add the toes. So my toes are flexed here. I'm going to push the toes into the band, pointing my foot, then release the toes, then flex the foot. So it's a 4-part, if you just notice that. So we have 1, then the toes 2, toes release 3, then flex 4. Ball of the foot, toes, toes go back, then flex. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Last one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to circle the ankle around, circle. And when we do this, oftentimes when we circle our ankles, we tend to kind of go fast and just get a little bit of motion going with this. We want full range of motion. So especially as I go out to the right side, so out this way, if you can see that range of motion there, that's the part that I'm most interested in, is building that strength. And so something to kind of be aware of when you're doing that is that the knee doesn't move around with it. My knee should not be creating the range of motion. So you can even take your hand here on your knee, keep it in place, just let the ankle do the movement. And now let's reverse the circle. Your ankle should be feeling really warm by this point. So if not, it means you're not putting enough tension on the band and you're not going in enough range of motion. Or you just have crazy strong ankles. And if that's the case, good for you. And 2 more times. 1 and 2. Very, very nice. Okay, let's go ahead and do the other leg. So left foot goes up into the band. Make sure it's around the ball of the foot. And you want some of the band to actually be going up off the top of the toes. Okay? So we're sitting up tall. We're going to start with, I'm giving enough tension. I'm going to start with flexing my toes back. Just push the ball of the foot forward and flex. And forward. And flex. Forward and flex. So I'm spreading my toes as much as I can. And forward. trying to push that ankle forward and down even more. And we have 4, back, and 3, and back, 2, and 1. Now we go into our 4 part. So I'm pushing through the ball of the foot, then the toes go. So I'm in a full pointed foot, the toes go back, then flex. Ball of the foot, toes point, just the toes flex back, and then I flex. Here we go. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 more times. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Last set. 1, 2, 3, 4. Circle the ankle around and around each time. Now the left side is what we're focused on. So going all the way over to the left. Make sure that that knee is not moving. It's not rotating open. You're keeping the knee completely stable. And around. 2 more times in this direction. 1 and 2. Now let's reverse. In and around. In and around. In and around. And around. And we have 3 and 2 and 1. Okay, so that just warmed up our ankles there and a little bit of the feet. Now we're going to kind of stretch our feet out a little bit. So you're going to grab a pinky ball if you have one, but if you don't, a tennis ball will do. A golf ball technically works, but it's extremely intense, so would definitely advise to use one of the other ones. So you can get these off of Amazon for about $6 or something like that. They're pretty cheap. So we're going to go ahead and start with just rolling out your feet. Now if you have plantar fasciitis or any sort of tension in your feet, just the simple act of rolling your feet out on a regular basis is going to be extremely helpful. It usually really relieves all that tension. So rolling your feet out, pushing. You're thinking of kneading through the muscle. Pushing through. So now as I'm doing this, I'm spreading my toes. I'm trying to get that stretch between my metatarsals. So right up through here, kind of in between the bunions of the side bunions of the feet. That's where I'm really interested in stretching. Make sure that you get right around the heel. So I'm rolling, pushing through. Let's go a couple more times. 1 and 2. Okay, so now I've just kind of rolled my foot out. I'm going to have my heel on the floor and the ball is going to be resting right here at the center of the ball of the foot. So right there, my toes, my foot is kind of doming over the ball. So here, this should be a pretty good stretch between, kind of in the toe region. I'm going to bend my right knee, keeping the heel down onto the floor, and straighten. Now usually you'll want to be kind of about here when you do it, but I want you to be able to see my foot, so that's why it's back. Bending the knee, I'm keeping my heel down, and straightening, and bending, and straightening. And let's go again. Bend, and each time you're going to bend as much as you can, put as much weight as you can into the ball, and straighten. Let's go 2 more times. Bend, and straighten, and bend, and straighten. Now, roll the ball back even further. So it's kind of here in the center of the arch. My heel is still on the floor. Very important point there. So this is right there in the kind of the meat of the arch of the foot. So I'm going to bend my knee, pushing weight into the ball, and straighten, and bend, and straighten, and bend, and straighten, and bend, and straighten. 3 more times. 3, and up, and 2, time. 1. And up. Roll your foot out just a little bit more. Find the areas that you didn't kind of loosen up quite as much. And then really also roll through the toes. Get those toes there into the ball. Okay, let's go ahead and go now to the left foot. So the left foot, time to roll it out first. Roll it out before you ever go into those intense stretches with the ball. So rolling out. So now something to be wary of, if you do not have a pinky ball already and you're gonna get one, there are the bouncy pinky balls that are for play, and then there are actual thick or very dense pinky balls that are specifically designed for rolling out. Make sure they're usually the slightly more expensive ones. Make sure to get those because the really airy pinky balls, they don't really roll out your feet very well. They smush very easily. So you won't really feel much from this if you're using those. And so I'm really rolling out, and I'm rolling by the heel. So really make sure that I like to roll, my sock is slipping a little bit, but I like to roll side to side like this at just before my heel. It's a really great way to loosen that area up. And then you want to get on the inside of the arch and on the outside of the foot. Make sure you get your toes as well. Spreading those toes around the ball. Okay, so we've rolled out our left foot. Now I'm going to put the ball right underneath the center of the ball of my foot. So we're talking about right here. That's where the ball goes. So my heel is down onto the floor. I'm going to go ahead and put as much weight as I can into the ball, bending the left knee, putting my weight down and forward, and straightening. So you should feel that stretch there. Bend the foot, and this is a little balance activity here, and straighten. So as you're doing this, if you need to, hold on to a wall, or hold on to something sturdy, and straighten, and bend, and straighten. Let's go 4 more times. 4, and straighten, and 3, and straighten, and 2, straighten. 1 more time. 1, and straighten. Let's go ahead and roll that foot on out. And now find the center of the arch of your foot. So now I'm in this territory right here. Putting the ball there. Heel is still down on the floor. So I'm doming my foot. I'm actively increasing that dome shape over. Here we go. Bending the knee. Now when you're doing this, it's important to recognize that like just shifting over is not bending the knee. You want the knee to actually move over the foot and straighten. Bending the knee and straighten and bend and straighten and bend and straighten. Keep that heel down. Bend and straighten. And we have 3, straighten, and 2, straighten. 1 more time. 1. And straighten. Let's roll the foot on out. Rolling it out all the way, especially by the heel. Make sure to get that area. And good. Let's go ahead and come sit on down for a final little foot stretch here. So with this, I'm going to take my socks off so you can kind of see my feet better. So with this, something that's just important in general to work on is just constantly spreading your toes. When we're in shoes, our toes get really squished, and that's when bunions start to appear and things like that, because our toes are not having their natural spread, and that's going to affect things like balance and just overall alignment of the feet, the foot, the ankle, the knee, up to the hip, everywhere. So getting your toes to naturally be able to spread out like this, very important to focus on. So this will be kind of our final stretch. So I want you to take both of your feet out in front of you. Sitting up tall, you're gonna go ahead and just relax your toes. Now spread your toes as much as you possibly can. Take your big toes, try to take them inward toward the midline while your pinky toes are spreading away. Spread the middle toes as well, and release. And spread your toes out as much as you can. Think of your posture, sitting up super tall. Spread those big toes even more, and release. 4 more times, here we go. Spreading your toes out, think of fanning those toes even up to the ceiling a little bit. You can even do this with your fingers if you want. It's good to stretch those hands out, especially with texting and typing. And release. And spreading out all the way. You can even help a little bit if you want. And release. Last 2. Spreading out all the way. Holding for 3, 2, 1. And release. Final 1. Spread your toes out. We're going to hold here. Wiggle your toes in that spread position. So get those toes to move while staying apart like this. And moving the toes around for 3, 2, and 1. Cross your knees. Let's go ahead and just stretch the front of the ankle here. So I'm going to kind of pull. I'm pulling my toes back just to get this slowly stretch up through here. Holding here for 3, 2, 1, and release. Let's go to the other side. Cross your foot over. I'm grabbing the front of my foot and I'm pulling my toes. So just like we stretched our toes earlier, pulling them down in the opposite direction. And holding here for 3, 2, and 1. And release. All right, that's a little stretching session for your feet. Getting the ankles to move around, a little bit of balance work. Those are some things that I just recommend that you do on a regular basis as much as you can, even just wiggling the toes. It's always helpful to kind of keep that as a habit to build. Can't wait to see you in class. Thanks so much.